Um, how many of you have Puerto Rican parents or family? There you go. I got a few. So every culture has their own way of pronouncing words. For instance, we, instead of saying the R, we say it's like the German CH. Anybody knows about Bach, the musician? Bach. So instead of saying Puerto Rico, we say Puerto Rico. Okay, so if the R is in the middle, it's pronounced like an L. Okay. Little bit of personal introduction. The reason I started writing the book is it started as a hobby. I was taking an anatomy class at UCF, and it was really hard. I needed something to get my mind off of it. And I started jotting down terms, slang that I knew. And the next thing I knew, I had like 1,000 of them. So I decided to publish them. And I also realized there's a cultural value to slang, because the slang that's used today, even in English, a lot of the slang words that your grandparents use, you don't use. And even through generations, 6 months ago, what was cool, or say 5-10 years ago, fat was cool. So a lot of stuff, it continues to change. I was born and raised in the mountains in Puerto Rico, so I know a lot of mountain talk, which is not book Spanish. My great-grandmother raised me, so she used a lot of mountain talk. She was born in 1900, which means that was a period when Puerto Rico was transitioning to U.S. Government. We used to be, for like 400 years, a colony of Spain. 1898, with the Spanish-American War, we became a territory of the United States. And the English language and culture started influencing us. Angélica. Not sure. I need to. Can you make it smaller so I can reach it out? A few more things. Okay, there you go. Okay. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I'm certified Florida court interpreter. I published this book, and there's a second edition of it coming out. It's called Diccionario Boricua. I'm going to tell you what Boricua means. A lot of you hear that. I don't know if you've ever heard that song, Boricua, Morena. Okay, Boricua means Puerto Rican, and Boricua means Puerto Rican, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Back. I'm sorry, this is not my computer, so I don't understand it. Tengo que darle un poquito para atrás.
Claro que sí.
That's another one. We speak really fast. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Why should you learn Spanish? And everybody says, well, this is America, we should speak American. If we spoke American, we would speak in Apache, Navajo, Comanche, all the real native tongues. English is British. And it actually started in the year about 600. It came from other languages. All languages come from other languages. One of the things, it's important to learn book Spanish so that everybody who speaks Spanish can understand each other. I mean, if we all spoke a slang of English, nobody could understand each other. You know, we need a centralized book Spanish so that we can go by it, and then you go by the regionalisms. The importance to know slang is it's important for work. Say if you go into the medical field, you have somebody who tells you where does it hurt, and say, well, it hurts in the batata, you know, and that's called a calf, but in the slang term for it would be batata, which means sweet potato, but it's not like you have a sweet potato here. The shape of it is like the shape of a sweet potato. So also people you work with, you want to know what they're saying. If you like a boy or a girl who speaks Spanish, you know, if you want to ask them out or befriend them, it's good to know their slang and their Spanish. And also you can learn a lot of interesting things from different cultures if you know Spanish. Spanish is a Romance tongue, which means it comes from Latin. Spoken by about 400 million people on the planet. If the Spaniards had won the Spanish-American War, we'd probably be speaking Spanish right now. Where it originated, it was a 9th century in the Castile region of Spain, and it's the languages that gave origin to Spanish was Celtiberian, Basque, which is still spoken. The northern part of Spain, there's a territory called the Basque Country, and they consider themselves or their own country, even though they're governed by Spain. You ask them, are you Spanish? No, I'm Basque. They have their own tongue, and it's a mother tongue. Their tongue doesn't come from any other tongue. It was apparently some Cro-Magnon or some prehistoric person, a bunch of people started naming things. So, just like mother tongues, Latin and stuff. The Latin was brought by the Romans into Spain in 210 BC through war and commerce and stuff like that. Another name for Spanish is Castellano, or Castilian, because it came from Castile, the region of Castile. There were two languages that evolved, Castilian and Leonese. The Leonese is still used, but very, very little, just in a small region. The one that made it all the way to the whole world was Castilian. That's what we speak. The Spaniards brought it to the New World when they started conquering the Americas. Anybody knows why America is called America? Americo Vespucci. His original name was Amerigo Vespucci. And it was a cartographer that named, namely first South America. He started naming South America in his voyages, and it took on the name America. So it's actually an Italian originated name. The names of a lot of our states. Colorado. What does Colorado mean?
Red.
Red. It's another way of saying red. Colorado. What's another name for red in Spanish?
Rojo.
Rojo. Rojo, right? But Colorado also means red. Montana. What does Montana mean? Mountain. The only thing, it lost the apostrophe on top because we don't, in the English language, we don't have the little apostrophe. So that's the ñ sound. Okay, so the original name is Montana. Florida. What does Florida mean? Flowery. Flowery. It's just that they changed the accent from Florida, which is the Spanish name, to Florida. Okay. New Mexico, Texas, Arizona. What's Arizona? Arid zone. Arid zone. Zona is zone.
Zona árida.
So it's backwards. It's constructed out of two Spanish words. Arid zone. Zona árida. Arid zone. Okay. So a lot of our names. If you go to California, what does California mean? 54 electoral votes. What? You guys don't understand that yet. There's the electoral vote system in the United States, and each state, depending on the population, carries a certain amount of electoral votes. So a politician will be laughing. Yeah. Right. The history of Puerto Rican Spanish. We have a lot of influences. We have history from Africa. We have influence from Africa in our words. A lot of, unfortunately, in those times, slavery was allowed. In 1492, Columbus landed and started colonizing the Western Hemisphere. I don't say discover because I don't think you can discover a country that was full of people and had 10 million people in it. 10 or 50, they don't even know. There were a lot of people here for like 40,000 years. And so he started colonizing. When they needed slaves to work their plantations, they brought slaves to the New World from Western Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, and they brought with them their language, their music with the drums, their religion. How many of you know Storm from X-Men? Okay, Halle Berry, yeah, beautiful woman. Yeah. What do they call her? You know what they call her? Ororo. Okay, Ororo is an African deity, but it's not pronounced Ororo. It's pronounced Ororo. Ororo. The religion where that deity is from is called Yoruba. The Yoruba religion, and it is a language that still exists today. Ororo is the goddess of lightning and storms. So it's actually, her character is actually based on a true deity. I'm not saying that it exists or not. I'm saying from a true cultural, historical background, it's correct. So when you see X-Men again, remember Ororo, it comes from the Yoruba religion. When those slaves from that tribe that had that religion said hi to people, they say Olukumi. That means amigo mío. So their religion was called Olukumi. And it's still to this day, if you go to Cuba and many places in Puerto Rico, there's a religion called Santeria that is based on the Yoruba religion, which is commonly called Olukumi. And it's still practiced. And what they did was they were forbidden by the Spaniards to worship their gods. So what they did is they were clever, you know, the African slaves said, okay, I'll call my gods your virgins. So they equated some of the names to their virgins. So Chango and Santa Barbara and other different virgins, they named their gods with it. But they were still worshiping their African gods with Spanish Catholic names. There is actually a word in Spanish called garabato, Puerto Rican slang. And in garabato, it could be a scribble. So it's all you know, without shape. But garabato was actually a Bantu tribe dance that apparently had a lot of movement to it, a lot of, you know, so whenever somebody was bent like that, because it looked like a garabato, you know, so we still use that. We also have Castilian, which is the Spanish, and in Taino Indians, which were the inhabitants of Puerto Rico for about 2,000 years, they also gave us words. You use words from Taino Indians that you don't know. The word hurricane. Hurricanes come from our Taino Indians word huracan. Huracan was the god of the wrath of the wind. So manatee, the sea mammal. It comes straight from a Taino word, manatee. Canoe, the word canoe, comes from a Taino Indian word, canoa. The word hammock comes from hamaca. So a lot of, even here, the reason we have it is because there was trade between all the Caribbean islands and Florida, and there were natives here, the Seminole Indians, and all these people were already doing business. We also have Arab and Spanish, in Puerto Rican Spanish, mostly Berber and North African. These people, they were derogatively known as Moors. They ruled the southern part of Spain for 800 years. And if you go to southern Spain, you'll see a lot of the architecture looks Arab. If you go to the Alhambra, if you ever travel to Spain, go to the castle called Alhambra. It's beautiful. It's actually it's been designed like a treasure of humanity, and it's designed by these people. Some of the words are in Spanish language. For instance, pantalón. Pantalón it's in some parts of the Mediterranean. Pantalón means pants. Camis. Anybody here from Middle Eastern descent? Arab descent? How do you say shirt? Okay. Camis. That's in Arab. Camisa in Spanish. Now there's an expression that we use when let's say somebody asks me, hey, I heard you hit the lotto. I say, ojalá. That means I wish. But if you analyze it, it's a quick prayer. Oh Allah. It's a quick prayer. Oh Allah. I wish. You're praying that it actually happened. Most people use it and they don't know that it came from that. Most people. anything that has al in front of it, it has Arab influence. The name Fatima, there's a virgin, for those of you who have Catholic family. Fatima, it's an Arab name. So we have 800 years of Arab and Berber, which is another language, and North African influence that influenced the Puerto Rican culture and language. A lot of people in the 50s, there was a lot of people from Puerto Rico in the 1950s that traveled to New York and to go work. They were looking for work. So then we started our own Spanglish. So instead of saying the roof, we say the rufo. That people say, oh, the rufo. The nurse, norsa. Furniture, fornitura. The yard, yarda. So they just added stuff to it and turned it into Spanglish. Now, our way to speak in Spanish, for instance, ahorita. Anybody, what does ahorita mean? Okay, ahorita. In Mexico, you say ahorita, and it's right now. In Puerto Rico, you say ahorita, it means in a little bit. In Mexico, you say ya mismo, is right now. In Puerto Rico, say ya mismo, is in a little bit. Okay? Chavos. In Mexico, chavos is a little kid, the kids. For us, chavos, dinero. What's dinero?
Money.
Money. There you go. Yeah, money.
We teach them the basics.
You teach them the basics. Yeah, comida, dinero. Right. And study. Where can I study? Right? That's the first thing you would ask in a foreign country. No. Okay. Xbox. So also in Mexico, they would say instead of saying dinero, they'll say feria. Feria. There are countries like in Colombia, they call money, they call it plata. What's plata? Silver. Plata. Silver. In Colombia, you go, say plata, silver. They'll call, in Colombia, they'll call the room, your room, like go to your room, they call it la pieza. We call it cuarto. Some people call it habitación, recámara. Okay, so there are many different iterations and ways of saying the same thing. Guagua. We call guagua a pickup truck. It could be your bus that you take in the morning. It could be a van. Now, in Mexico, they'll use in English slang, troca for a pickup truck. Now, if you go to Peru, guagua means a little baby. They come from the Quechua Indian language. And guagua in Peru, it means a little baby. So you have to know the different structures. Another thing from Spanglish, in Puerto Rico, this is called nudillo. In the correct word, your knuckle is called nudillo. In Puerto Rico, say ñoco. It comes from knuckle. Okay, but we use the ñ to describe it. Okay, so we use a lot of Anglicism. Bellón. Now we have regionalisms inside of Puerto Rico. Bellón, it's a nickel, 5 cents. We use your currency in Puerto Rico. Now, if you go to the southwestern part of the island, they call it ficha. Ficha is a token, and if you say bellón, it means a dime. So in different parts of Puerto Rico, the same word means two different things. They understand, but you have to specify it. Pana. It's a pana. It's a friend. Yeah? Buddy. What's up? Mi pana. Now there's, I don't know how many of you heard reggaeton? Reggaeton. Everybody likes reggaeton. Right? You know, I don't know if you hear him saying, ¿Qué bajo? You know? That's saying, what up? You know? That's a slang term for saying, right. I can't teach curse words because, you know, I don't think the county would like that. But I have a video online that I know that you are going to ask your parents' permission to watch the video on YouTube, right? Yeah. Say yes?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm on camera. There's a camera somewhere. Yes, you're going to ask permission from your parents, and there's a video on YouTube, and you just put in the name of the book, La Lengua Boricua, and you'll see there's one, it's all in Spanish. I know that's what you're here for, to learn curse words. And okay, we call what we call a car, we call it carro. In many other places, call it coche. Okay, coche. Now we in Puerto Rico call coche a crib, a little baby carriage. That's a coche, right? Not a car. Uy. Uy is an expression of fear. Uy, you know, that's what we say. How do we say when something stinks?
Ew.
No, that's right. Well, it's in English. Ew. Yeah. In Puerto Rican, it's fo.
Fo, que peste.
Fo. Fo.
Fo.
Fo. Hi, fo. All right. All right. Palo. We can. I know you've been taught to say árbol. Árbol. What's árbol? The tree. Okay. Puerto Rico we call it palo. Now it could also be a shot of something. You know, usually out of liquor. You guys don't drink yet. Hopefully never. Okay. So we call it the mata. Mata could be saying, telling somebody kill, but we don't use it like that. Mata is a plant. Gufiar, that's an anglicism of goofing around. That's just to goof around with your friend. Gufiar. Ñapa, it's a freebie. Ñapa, I want a ñapa. Quiero una ñapa. Chupacabra, anybody heard about the chupacabra? There you go. Chupacabra. I've never seen it. I have friends who say they have. You know, it literally means goat sucker. Yeah. Chupa. In some countries, chupar. In some countries, chupar is to drink alcohol. Chupar. We don't, in Puerto Rico, we don't use that. We use beber. But chupa means suck. Cabra means goat. Female goat. Because there is, you know that there is like female and male adjectives in Spanish. A is for female, o is for male. So chupacabra means goat sucker, and they started finding goats with little holes in their neck or something, drained of their blood. So there you go. Now, what does poppy mean? Poppy. Well, poppy. Poppy is daddy. Poppy is daddy. Now you can use it for. I use it for my 6-year-old. Poppy, give me a kid. Well, you can use it for your boyfriend. You can use it for your dad. It's an affectionate way to call either a son or a boyfriend or something like that. Mommy also could be the same. Mommy could be for your girlfriend, for your mom, for all that stuff. Now, tostado. That same thing is crazy. That's toasted. Means you're just toasting. He's not tostado, he's toasted. A loco. What's huepa? Anybody heard huepa?